Hey up everybody and welcome back. Well, it's a sunny Monday in the great metropolis of Richford and it's actually a little bit cooler, so that's nice. So we're going to carry on sort of where we left off last Friday. We had our bit of disappointment, but the story continues from then. So Saturday morning I came out and I thought, right, what can we do here? So I remembered that the shrinker I got actually came in a pair, a shrinker and a stretcher. So with some wheeling to stretch and stretching the edge with that, I got that other panel up to the same level as the first one. So I thought, great. So I worked on it a bit more. It was coming along a treat. And then I noticed it was getting a bit hard. So I thought to myself, okay, it was coming up to lunchtime. I'll anneal this, come back after lunch. It'll be nice and cool. We'll do our finished bit, trim it and weld it. Well, I don't know. I started off, look, there's me sutting. And you can see it there. And you can see it there. I just overheated it and it came apart. So that was that. So let's say it's Monday, I'm going to order a new sheet of alloy for that. But also I spent all day Sunday basically watching metal shaping videos. That chap's name is Chris Runge, and he, I think out of Ray Shalene and Lazzy and all the ones I watched, he's the one who's given me the most useful information. And funnily enough, one of his videos, he's making this gorgeous car and he's got a series of videos of the various bodies. But he was making a cover for, I think it was the heating duct or something. It was like about a 2-inch diameter right angled piece of rubber tube. So he wanted, as I say, his cars are just completely polished alloy. He wanted to make a cover for it. So he made it in 2 halves. 2 sort of right angled halves. And when he had them cut, so he was going to weld them in the middle and he put them down, it was that tank. I mean, it was slimmer and slightly shorter. It was still about so long, but the sides came up and met at the top and the front went round virtually 90 degrees. So that I watched very carefully, in particular the what's the word I'm looking for, the order in which he did the things. And actually maybe the most noticeable thing was he made the side to the top first and then he did the front end. So I'll have another go when that sheet comes. I'm feeling a bit better about it. I understand it a bit more now, so we'll have a go at that. So as I may say, I'll order the sheet today, which means it'll probably come tomorrow afternoon if it's coming from the New Jersey depot, which it usually does. So in the interim, I thought what I would do, and I'm not going to video this because it's just, I'm going to stick the bike up on the lift, strip it, do the finished bronzing on the frame, get the frame painted, and then build it again. That will take me in total a couple of days. So by the time that sheet comes, well, that won't come till Tuesday afternoon. As I say, Wednesday I won't be here. So Thursday I'll start on the other side of that, and hopefully I can get it done nicely. So anyway, as I say, I'm not going to video me just stripping the bike and doing the painting. As you know, I don't do painting videos. So let me let you go off and do stuff, and we'll come back probably on Thursday when I have a new sheet of alloy to butcher. Alright, so we'll see you then. Alright, well this is one of those weeks that's nothing's going to go on to plan. My timetable is shot to pieces. It's Thursday afternoon already. As you can see, I've only just got everything primed. Primed it this morning, so before close of play today I should have that painted. So that's one thing. The alloy sheet has only just arrived. So, and it's what? Hang on. It's 3:25. So we'll have a quick look at that because I've got a couple of things to tell you. And I can be bouncing in between that and the painting in between coats. But I'm going to show you something else as well, which might make some of you happy. Now I did have a couple of comments about this CDI unit. That because it wasn't a plug going into the female part there, that it might be affected by the weather and so on. Plus they were only, you know, they pushed on nicely, but I thought they might be a bit prone to coming loose. So what I've done is I've made them all, I still have to put a couple of bullet type ones on. I've made them all so that it comes apart from the wiring harness. In other words, separate wires don't plug in. They're all going to go together. And I've filled it up with epoxy. So now it's completely weatherproof and those connections are not going to come out. Alright, so what have I got to tell you about the tank? You will remember after I got this one side done nicely that I was really happy with it, except that it didn't touch the book. Well, I've been watching that chap again. Actually, I don't know if did I mention this, his first name is Chris Runge. One of the ones I was watching, he mentioned, he sort of said, and now for a common question. How close should the skin, the panel, come to the book? Now admittedly his book is a great big one, it's the full size of a car, but he said that he worked to it being, if it was 1/4 to 3/8 of an inch off the book. Because I noticed often he would be working on a piece and he'd be finished and he'd sort of say, okay, that's right. And I've noticed he would still be, and I'm thinking, well, sure, you've got to work on that some more. You're having to press it onto the book. There's a lorry coming. But then he said, now, of course, I got more than an inch here because I went on to doing it differently. But I was getting worried there, or I was working away trying to get it to touch the book everywhere, and I shouldn't have been worried about that. See, I'm finding these little things that maybe I'm trying too hard to do stuff. So anyway, I just thought I'd mention that. So let me go and get this piece of alloy out and we'll see what we can do in this last hour today. Alright, so as I said, when I was watching Chris, he made a thing which turned out just like this. Because when he put the other half to it, it had that same up curve and this front curve right round here. His actually came round in a right angle, so he'd obviously even brought it more round than I wanted it. And what he did was, before he started doing anything much, he made this just over his knee. He bent that. So, and then he started to shrink this, bring it in. So let's try that. We want to be about there. You can see my head, but actually what's happening is I'm bending this over my knee, or attempting to. Shouldn't have needed this. So I've got to do a lot more. This, I checked when I ordered it, this is H14. It's, in other words, it's half hard. So maybe what I'll do is anneal it carefully, and then while it's cooling I'm going to put the first coat of paint on the frame and bits. So let me go and do that. You go and have a cup of tea. Right, so extra bit of noise today because we've got the extractor fan going in the paint room. Alright, it's been annealed carefully. Now you see I've put that in first. Now I'm going to start shrinking this. I'm going to use the tucking fork, and I was watching him. Well, he has a machine that does it, really clever machine that it sort of has, it's like a planishing hammer, but the head is sort of like that, so when it goes bang it makes the tuck. So it goes in with it and it goes bang 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 and makes the tuck. But then as it's coming out, of course, it's getting hit by this end and it flattens it and does the shrink. So it just goes in and out. Costs a huge machine, incredibly expensive I'm sure. So let me see if I can start to bring that around there with a tucking fork. Right, well I'm going to knock off for today, but I'm sort of doing what he did. Don't look at the back end, it's miles out, but look at that. See, I cut that, and then there's less here fighting against that coming in. And it's tall enough on the top, so what I've got to do is, which is always the thing, see, as I've formed that, this you can see is kicked out over there, so I've got to bring this back here. I'm going to work to get this front end a bit closer, and I've got the other half taped to the base so I can offer it up to that. And I've got enough alloy that if I screw this one up I can still, oh look, I forgot to put my gloves on, I can still work on it. I can use my little stretcher there to bring that end right in, dolly it round some. But as I mentioned before, and we saw, it's when you get to the point where you say, okay, I've got to cut a bit out. It's terrifying. Which bit do I cut out? So, okay, let me, I'll finish the paint, let me clean my hands, and then I'll show you what's in the paint room. Alright, you're on autofocus and handheld, so don't get queasy. So there's the swinging arm. There's the frame. Hang on, see if I can zoom you out. Walk backwards a bit. So there's the frame. And over here we have prop stand, and zoom you back in again. Top yoke, footrest, brake pedal, and then hanging over here, what have we got? Chain tensioner, rear brake torque arm, footrest, and the bottom yoke. Okay, so I'll come out and do a bit more on Saturday. Give you a last look at the frame. And we'll do a bit more on that tank. So I'll see you then. Alright, it's Saturday afternoon. So I've just trimmed a little bit off the bottom. I'm not going to make the same mistake and trim too much off, but as you can see, I hope you can see, they're coming in here, the buck's actually right in there. We're actually touching at the back end, so this needs to go, see, this is always it, I know exactly
where I need to go, but it's how do I do it. So I need to bring the top in. I need to get that curved that way. I think I can wheel that. So I'm going to wheel it at an angle. I've got to make it curve that way. And then that should bring that end down a bit. I've also got enough room to cut a little bit more off. I've got to shrink this edge so I can get it to come in along there. See, this is it. Every time I sort of start to get it right here, it makes that come out. And then when I form that back here, now again, I was watching, oh, and I've had a lot of good comments from you viewers. And Chris Rungy, as I was watching, he really does, oh, hang on, let me take them off. I sound so strange to myself. I've got the doors open, it's a nice day. He really does work on small pieces. A couple of times he said, I'm going to wheel it here because I don't want this shape to change. And I'm thinking to myself, yeah, you're right, that's what happens. I wheel something and the bit I've got good suddenly goes bad on me. So anyway, I'm just going to keep going for another hour or so. I think for once when I say this is a short video, it actually is. I'm not going to do any more of that front. Because I think when I cut that, it's going to be closer, and then I can probably just hammer and dolly that bit round the front to match the other bit. Let's try actually with this rather than the button. See, I've got that. Let's put it so it can dangle over. See, I've got lots to cut off. I've got tons at the top so I can drop it down, get this bottom right, but I can't get this bottom right. You can see it still sticks up there. I daren't put that bottom right until I'm closer, because that's where I went wrong last time. I thought, oh yeah, I'm there. I cut that, and then when I did a bit more shaping, the top moved away. So, as I say, let me keep on going. Got to buy myself a new pair of shears as well. These are so, I just tried to touch up the edges, but they're blunt. Well, you can see there's a big gap, they're not touching. Yeah, too much gap there, it's tending to just bend it and tear at it. If I get it started with these, see, when I look at them, there's absolutely no gap. Which all has something to do with this spring in here. Because this spring broke. And I had another pair of these and I got the spring out of that. Anyway, let me press on. Right, so I was doing quite well. But I noticed the wheeling was making it too much of a curve here. As we know, this side is flattish. So just on a flat thing, I've hammered it in. This always looks so terrible. And then you wheel it and it just disappears. Or even planish it and it disappears. So let me try and get that out. But it's much closer at the bottom. Then I've still got, I think that'll come up like that almost at an angle. So I really need to get this bottom right, but as I say, I can't cut that. I don't get that until I know I'm closer with this. So let me press on again. And we're getting closer still. Trimmed a little bit more off the bottom. I've been working on this slightly. What I did was, where I'd shrunk this to, I put quite a high crown bottom die in the English wheel, and I ran it just on the edge. Didn't go that side, didn't go this side, didn't try to form it. Again, Chris Runge did this, and it does, it sort of forms it right on that line. So it pulled it in slightly, pretty good, about here. About here is where that joggle is, so I've got to get that to go in. So I think actually if I do that joggle, that'll push that in. Then I've just got to work out the bump it forms up here. I've managed to twist this end in. Slow but sure. Alright, so we'll finish the week with a bit of excitement like we did last week. This is now on the other piece. I've got plenty of material. It's coming round at the back end. That I can bring in. I'm going to risk cutting that out. Should be about right at the top. It's a bit wide there because this is going to come in. So let me cut that out, and then we'll either say, well, that was good, or we'll shout and stamp about and finish the video in a bad mood. Alright, so let me cut it and we'll see what happens. Well, that is pretty good. Plenty of metal everywhere. See, now what this needs now is actually to be cut in a straight line basically to there. So that when that folds round, because don't forget this that it's coming up against is flat. That's not curved, I mean it's curved there, but where it actually touches, it's flat. So this doesn't want to be curved, it wants to be a straight line. So that wants to be like that. And that'll be about right, because that's about, oh, I don't know, 3/8 of an inch back from there actually. So that's going to have to be curved in more. Ooh, dangerous. Got the joggle, that's about touching. So I have to shrink and form that back end. And then we've got to mark a line down there. What I'll do is I'll untape this, fit that one and tape it up, and then put that one on top and mark off that one. But as I said, it's a nice day. It's supposed to rain tomorrow, Sunday, so I am going to get the greaser out and go and ride 20 sections. Be a good workout. So, dare I risk it? Dare I risk, before we finish the week, cutting that, or should we go out on a high point? Actually, if I cut that, I've got to work that, so no, there's more work than I've got time for today. So we'll leave it at that. Hopefully, next week we'll have the tank finished, and as you saw, I've got everything painted, so a morning to put everything together, and then a couple of days hopefully just to finish this off, and we're in business. Right, now let me tell you now, so next week we'll be working, and next Sunday, from you watching this today, you'll get a video. Then the week after, the Sunday after, is my trial / open day. So all that week I'll be fiddling around, hopefully if the weather's good, making sure everything's marked and stuff like that. So there'll be a video next week which hopefully will finish this bike off. Then the week after there won't be a video. Alright? So anyway, until next Sunday, you stay safe and enjoy yourselves.